I built a one-click deploy MCP server hosting platform for go-to-market. Today I'm going to show you how I built it, how it works, and why I'm shutting it down. Now, for context, I've been bullish on MCP since it came out. This post is from 7 months ago, where I was talking about using MCP servers for go-to-market. And over the last couple of months, MCP has been really blowing up, both as a buzzword and I think just in the actual practical use cases you can get out of it. So I saw an opportunity to basically just start validating my assumptions on MCP being extremely valuable for go-to-market. So I started getting a bunch of test users on varying MCP servers for different use cases in go-to-market. So like this email bison one, I also partnered with my friend Jordan to operationalize his permissionless value prop framework into a Snowflake MCP server. And this was a lot of fun. As I was spinning up all these test servers, it became really clear to me that this was a gigantic pain in the ass, and it was preventing for most people from actually getting the value out of MCP servers, or at least that's what I thought at the time. So now getting into the actual technical architecture, this is what it takes to build a automated MCP server deployment platform. There's a lot going on here. And from a technical perspective, this was a ton of fun to build out. It's by far the most complex application I built out so far, with multiple services across multiple different hosting providers, all working together to orchestrate that deployment process. The result being a incredibly sophisticated multi-service architecture that not only supported MCP server deployments, but also stateful and stateless agentic workflows. And the tools that I used the most to build this out were Cursor, Cloud Code, and Linear. Now it's not this simple, but broadly, I would start with an idea in Claude, a feature scope. I would outline what I know I needed. I would then push that scope into Linear using the Linear MCP server, so Claude to Linear. And then depending on the complexity of the task, I would either work on it myself in Cursor with Cursor and Cloud Code, or I would actually use a tool called Cogent that was an agent in my Linear that could write a lot of these features for me. The result being, I was able to spin up a multi-service production grid application in about 6 weeks that otherwise would have taken me almost 5 times as long. And as you can see here, it's pretty complex. And the majority of that functionality went to serving a multi-user, multi-server deployment system. So something like this, where you can actually go in and just paste in your API key or whatever variables that you need to make the server work, and it just works. In the end user experience, rather than having to build the server yourself, figure out how to host it, figure out all the different technicalities around this pretty new tech, all you had to do is just bring a name in the API key, and you could hit deploy, and it would work automatically. Now, one of the big things around actually spinning up the MCP servers people don't understand is that these are their own applications. So a big unseen necessity of that was being able to talk to the application and understand like the current status of the application. So we just deployed that app right now, and it's currently says it's unhealthy. A lot of this functionality you can see in here is where's the health? Yeah, health check. It's to see from the health monitor. It's asking, hey, MCP server, are you awake? What's going on? Are you busted? Like, what's going on? Meanwhile, the user doesn't see any of this internally. All they have to do is just sit here and wait for about 10 minutes, in less than 10 minutes, and let it come to health. Because what's happening is that on the back end, my application is managing the whole deployment process of deploying, building, and managing the server for every single user. So you can see this is my actual users in the application, all the servers that are owned by me. And you can see it just came up alive right now. And now in the front end, you can see that's actually saying the server is coming up, ready to be used, and is healthy. So now wherever you have an MCP server, primarily in chatbots like Claude or ChatGPT, you can actually add that server and be able to manage your Instantly or your Smart Lead or your Snowflake or whatever your MCP server exposes. It lets your AI agents take action on your context on your behalf. And as I was getting this into more and more test users' hands, I was able to see really amazing use cases. People telling me it was proponent analytics that they didn't even think was possible. It was helping them optimize campaigns, finding where they're leaving money on the table. Really, really exciting and powerful stuff like this, where it's just like basically having an analyst working for you 24/7. And while I was getting a ton of super useful intelligence and feedback from users, one of the things I found was that if I just gave a user an MCP server, understandably so, they would have no idea what to do with it. So I found myself in this conundrum of, well, I'm spending time on service engagements, I'm spending time on building this platform, I'm spending time on talking to and onboarding users, and I'm actually not generating any revenue from these servers so far. And that leads me to where I am today, where I'm probably the person that knows the most about MCP servers for go to market, or one of the people, let's say that. Um, but one of the things I've realized is that shiny new tech and all of that learning, shiny new tech, MCP servers, in abstract, don't mean anything. When it can do everything, when it can transform your go to market, you can I mean, it sounds almost unbelievable. And when you just give someone a server and say, "Here you go," yeah, it's daunting. There's no idea. People don't have any idea what to do with it, which is understandable. Because I take for granted I'm coming at this from an engineering perspective, and even though I attempt to make it tangible, um, it's very hard to do that education, understanding, and just awareness of what's possible at scale. And the core takeaway that I'm landing on now is that it only matters when it's deployed for a specific use case that's tangible to the end user or client. And that takes time, and that takes effort, and that takes deep understanding, which I just I didn't think was going to work for this model, because MCP GTM was kind of sitting in the middle in terms of ICP and offer size. And especially as a solo founder, I think what you really need to do is you need to go to completely uh, almost B2C prosumer, where there's zero touch points, there's zero calls, qualification, onboarding, whatever, or you go all the way to really high touch, high value B2B service engagements. So that's what I'm doing now. I was already doing some agentic system consulting, and my core thesis around all of this really is agents commodify execution, but they can't commodify taste. So baking in your taste or perspective into the software in terms of regard to the agent is what matters. Um, but I was still splitting a little too much time between MCP GTM and the actual service engagements. That stops today. I'm going all in on the larger build outs. So this is my one pager. It's a little bit longer than a one pager for sure, but I wanted to at least just have something tangible people could see. And here are some of my case studies. So my open ask for all of you lovely people is, if this sounds like you, this ICP thesis right now, which I'm going to continue validating, if this sounds like you or someone you know, I would love to just have a conversation, primarily to customer discovery. And if I could help you operationalize your expertise and solve a lot of your big process bottlenecks, that would be awesome. And I just want to make it clear, MCP servers for go-to-market are still super valuable. It's just this iteration of this business and offering I was building around it wasn't the correct thesis. So I'm still going to be talking about MCP servers for go-to-market. A lot of the service consulting I'm doing is around RevOps, uh, and I don't want that to be misconstrued in any way. This is still super valuable. So I just want to end on thank you. Thank you for everyone who tested out the servers, who offered feedback, who was supportive, who's helped me iterate on these offer sizes, the ICP, and everyone who's just been kind of along for the ride. People who I've been interacting with on LinkedIn, chatting in Slack groups, everywhere. I'm very grateful for all of you. And I hope to see you in this kind of next step in my entrepreneurial journey. Thanks so much, and have a good one. Bye.